You're 67 years old, you're morbidly obese, you have diabetes, your kidneys are failing, and the 14 medications you're taking are not helping you feel better. What do you do next? Welcome to Montgomery Heart and Wellness again. We have another exciting case for you on clinical rounds. So Camille, you had a patient you were treating who was morbidly obese, a diabetic, chronic kidney failure, and my goodness, she was just feeling lousy.
Yeah, she had no energy and she had leg discomfort from the swelling as well.
And she was taking, what, 2 or 3 diuretics? Is that correct for the swelling?
3 diuretics.
3 diuretics? And it didn't help the swelling?
Right.
And so, and also she had some chronic kidney disease, I understand.
Yeah, she was like stage 3 chronic kidney disease, and she's also on insulin, Ozempic. She was having trouble losing weight despite being on the Ozempic, and that's why she had wanted to come here, because she had heard about how we can help patients, and also just taking 14 medications is so much to maintain, and she was concerned about that as well, knowing that medications can interact.
I mean, maybe, she was on 14 medicine. Maybe she just needed about another 5. Maybe it should have been better with another 5.
Yeah.
This patient, and I'm glad you outlined the issue. She felt bad. She was swelling. She was on diuretics, which did not help the swelling. Her condition, and the reason why she had trouble losing weight, was that she was very toxic. And she was toxic initially because of the dietary habits she had probably had from the very beginning, which led to the chronic illnesses. But then the treatment of the chronic illnesses were more medications and more toxins.
Right.
And so that was an issue that only made the problem worse. Now, when she came in, she had a baseline kidney function, where creatinine was 1.17. However, it got worse. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so temporarily during the detox process, when she had come back because we checked things midway, she had told me she had been really sick for about 2 weeks. For 1 week she had a high fever and then symptoms of like sinusitis and coughing, and she laid in bed for days and she really didn't eat and she didn't hydrate, and she was sick, and then she was on an antibiotic. Then when we checked the kidney function, she actually had a sharp decline in her kidney function, a major acute kidney injury.
Yes.
And I think it's multifactorial because she was still taking maybe some of her medications that can impair the renal function, an antibiotic. Some of those can be harsh on the kidneys. And she wasn't hydrating because she felt too lousy to get out of bed and drink water.
Yep, and she was taking the diuretics, which was working against her.
Right.
So what I want you to get an understanding for with this patient is that even though these medications were theoretically trying to address the problems, they were actually contributing to the problem. Her underlying problems were fundamentally increased inflammation, increased oxidative stress, and in her particular case, volume depletion. She was dehydrated. And she was taking medications that, from the standpoint of the Ozempic, which, theoretically should help the blood sugar and the insulin, but with the Ozempic, it decreases motility. So she probably wasn't, emptying her GI tract very well. That's 1. 2, dehydration leads to constipation. So you have this toxic buildup in your GI tract, and you can have leaky gut or, who knows, whatever. The microbiome's abnormal, so that contributes to more oxidative stress, more inflammation. So I want us to understand her situation from a biochemical standpoint. So the abnormal biochemistry starts with the abnormal lifestyle, abnormal dietary habits, initial set of toxins. We try to treat it medically with pharmaceutical agents, which creates another toxic level. And then she gets an infection, gets an antibiotic, which may have contributed to her renal dysfunction, along with the diuretics, which further dehydrated her. So this was, she was really, in some ways, a ticking time bomb. So what did you do at that point?
So we stopped the rest of her diuretics, and she had already been off insulin. We stopped the Ozempic at that point issue. The next time her kidney function increased, and then ultimately the renal function was a lot better from the initial biomarker that we checked as well.
I'm glad you said it. So basically, here's someone who's swollen, who's feeling bad, and lots of doctors will be afraid to stop the medication. Wait a minute, she's doing badly, we're going to stop the medication. But really, that was the first step, or perhaps tied with the first step is a change in nutritional level. So you need to optimize nutrition and hydration, but you also have to equally remove the medication, especially the ones that we don't think is helping. And so she was reluctant, perhaps, I think, at first because of the leg swelling.
Yeah.
But the diuretics weren't helping the leg swelling because the swelling wasn't due to fluid overload necessary, but it was due to fluid leaking from outside the vessels, the capillaries, into what we call the interstitial space. That's the tissue layer between cells, between blood vessels, where you get the swelling. And so that's due to an inflammatory process. So diuretics won't help with that. But a nutritional detox will help with that. And in the same time, you're going to be able to hydrate from an intravascular space to perfuse the kidneys, and that's going to help the kidney function too.
So eventually, she got to hydrating really well, and to the point like drinking 3/4 a gallon of fluids a day, and her legs actually looked less edematous than in the very beginning. And she lost 33 pounds over about 3 months, and we took her off Ozempic in the very, first few weeks. That weight loss was just from her lifestyle intervention and her being really committed.
Mm-hmm. And I want the audience to really understand the mechanism behind the weight loss, because we think, oh, well, fewer calories, this, that, and the other. Her mechanism of the weight loss was to remove toxins from the body. People often gain weight, i.e. through increased fluid retention, swelling, or increased fat cell production. Why are you having more fat cells? Why are you retaining fluid? Because the body has to compartmentalize the toxins in the system. So toxins inside your system cannot be stored in, say, an endothelial cell or a heart muscle cell or a brain cell. It has to be stored outside these cells. So it has to be outside the cell. It can't be in the bloodstream either. So the body has to remove it away from these important compartments into other areas. So it may develop fat cells to store in fat cells, or create fluid retention outside the cells so that it's diluted and stored there. And so once we put together a toxin removal process, then as the toxins were removed, then the weight loss came off because you need fewer fat cells, you needed fewer fluid cells. And so the toxic effect, and of course the Ozempic could have had an adverse effect on the kidney itself, we don't know that, but it probably contributed to the toxin buildup because you have decreased gastric motility. And so you're eliminating less, and so more toxins stay in your system. So this is a classic example of how you first detox by removing the toxin from the food, the dietary part, and then you remove the toxic medication secondarily, and then you hydrate properly, and the patient's body starts to correct itself.
It's pretty hard and impossible to heal until you remove the toxins. You really can't. So, and overall, like, her inflammation went down a lot too, which really lines up with everything that you've said. Her inflammatory marker, the C-reactive protein, went down from 8.2 to 5.2, and there's still work to be done there, but she's feeling so much better. She wants to continue, which is also had an overall really positive impact on her life.
Yeah. So, there you have it. By removing toxins, you get an overall health benefit. And so some people may say, oh, wow, she lost 33 pounds. Okay, that's fantastic. But the real important story is what happened underneath the hood. Because the 33-pound weight loss is just a manifestation of the overall health benefit, the reduction in inflammation, reduction in oxidative stress, and that core healing process, improvement of biochemical balance and physiological balance, that's what's happening at the core. And the outward manifestations, the weight loss, the feeling better, improving kidney function, and the like. So I hope that was very helpful and instructive to you. And of course, as always, if you have any questions, leave your questions and comments in the comment box. And of course, you may have questions about different health issues that you want us to do a clinical rounds on. Please leave show suggestions in the comment box as well, because we read our comments And oftentimes we like to hear from you so we can actually share with you information that you're curious about. Until next time, take care. Thanks for watching. If you got value out of this video, please like it, subscribe, and hit the notification button to see our next show.